One thing's for sure, it's all about family. What's going on, guys, and welcome to my review of Fast X. I know I've been absent for a while. It's probably been like over a week now. Just been dealing with a lot of stuff I won't get into here. For that, I apologize, but I'm here now. Let's talk Fast X, or Fast 10, whatever you want to call it. So the film follows Dom and his family as they are targeted by a new enemy hell-bent on revenge, connecting it to their past. Rolling into this, I went in with somewhat low expectations. After the bad taste of F9, and since I reviewed that movie back when that came out 2 years ago, my opinions kind of changed on it, and it was just so out there, so crazy, so over the top, overwhelmingly silly, that your disbelief just, there's a limit. There's a limit. So of course I was nervous going into this after watching characters going to outer space with duct tape, people getting hit by metal fences and walking away without a scratch, people getting tossed around into heavy traffic and still living, and I can go on and on. So that was pretty much F9. So here with Fast X, it's a little bit more tolerable. Listen, these movies waved bye-bye long ago to logic and pretty much the rules of physics and whatever else deals with gravity and just the laws of physics that is logic. But with Fast X, there's still some really dumb, silly stuff in this, but it's more tolerable. They don't go over the top. It's much more tolerable here. They don't go overboard like they did in F9, and no one goes to space. Let me clear that out right now. No one goes to space. With that being said, let's start off with the positives for Fast X. And this is pretty consistent with everything that I've heard right after the release of this movie. This is a pretty consistent deal, but I've got to agree that Jason Momoa is one of the best villains that this franchise has had so far. He plays the main antagonist, Dante, who's actually the son of the drug cartel from Fast 5, the main baddie that was in that film, which is why it connects so much. And this is not the first time that this has happened, but throughout this series, they have made some, pretty cool attempts to make up something that has happened in the background that was actually involving like one of the other sequels, and they just pretty much recreate scenes, only adding that character to fit the storyline of the present movie, of whatever movie you're watching. And I thought that was pretty smart. I thought that was pretty cool that they did that. Like I said, it all connects to Fast 5, which is the basis of this antagonist, of Jason Momoa's character's motivations for his revenge. And like I said, he's unlike any villain that Dom and his family has ever faced before. Let me just get this out first. I thought he was excellent. But let me just put it to you this way. He was like the franchise's version of the Joker. You can definitely tell that if he did take meds, he wasn't on them for long. He was basically off his rocker, completely psychotic. Nothing to lose, basically, except for the vengeance of his father. The way Jason Momoa plays this character is not like, it's not like most of the characters that Jason Momoa plays. He is a complete psychotic, but yet he still retains that charm that he usually does play in his other movies. But he's more wackier. He's more kind of like cartoonish. Like I said, he's like the Fast and Furious version of the Joker. Like, there's this one scene where he was talking to corpses and literally painting their toenails and just talking to them like they're still alive. That is about the only scene in this whole entire franchise that kind of disturbed me a little bit. It reminded me that, hey, that's exactly what the Joker would do. But big shout out to Jason Momoa. I think he did a really good job in this film as the antagonist. I liked how they dialed it down from F9. As I said, F9 had so many silly things that your disbelief was just pretty much blown out of the water. there's a limit. Yeah, your disbelief needs to kind of breathe a little bit, and F9 didn't get a chance for any of us to do that. I liked it at first whenever I saw that one in theaters, but since then I've rewatched it and damn. But I like how they dialed it down here. Nobody goes to space. Nobody gets hit by fences and lives. There's still some dumb, silly things in this movie that you come to expect at this point of the franchise. But still, they don't go overboard. It's not overwhelmingly over the top exhausting that F9 was. It's like they heard our cries for that one, and then they said, well, no, we're not going to go that far. We're going to dial it down just a little bit. And I don't know if this has anything to do with it, but director Justin Lin, who's pretty much the father of this franchise, he's directed Tokyo Drift, the third installment. He directed Fast and Furious, the fourth one, and Fast 5, Fast and Furious 6, and F9. And right when production started for Fast X, due to creative differences, he left it. And they had to replace him with The Incredible Hulk and Transporter 2's director, Louis Leterrier, which I think is an excellent director. I liked what he's came out with thus far. I don't know if that had anything to do with it, because creative differences can mean so many different things. But as far as him dialing it down, I am grateful that they did that. Yeah, as I said at the beginning of this review, I rolled in a little nervous. I didn't want another retrend of what F9 did. To sum it all up, compared to F9, this one is more tolerable. I like the action that Fast X provided. I like with F9, it felt like as silly and stupid and overwhelmingly ridiculous as that was when the action started, there felt like there was a big gap in that. But for Fast X, and this is my second time watching it, I felt like it was more to be had here. It didn't feel like they strayed away. It felt like it was more consistent, and it felt more humble. Like I said, there's still some pretty silly, dumb stuff that you come to expect in this franchise at this point, like a car dragging two helicopters down to the ground, smashing into each other. Dom shielding himself from a torn-off car door. I didn't know he knew that those were bulletproof, but okay. And Dom picking up a car, flipping it over with just one arm. Just little things like that. Just, okay, that's all you'll get out of me, but still, just little things like that, or however you want to call it. They're still there. But again, Fast X compared to F9, way better in scale. But at this point in the franchise, your disbelief will be tested somewhat. At least in this film, in Fast X, they didn't have them nuked out of the water, like with F9. As I dive into my mixed, there was a little bit too much characters in it for an almost 2.5 hour movie. Now, the positive side is, I think they all did a great, excellent job. Vin Diesel, of course, Jason Momoa, Michelle Rodriguez, Charlize Theron, all of them did a really good job. All of them performed well. John Cena returns from F9, who's the villain in that film, and the supposed long-lost brother to Dom, which is another silly concept I never got behind for that film, amongst the plethora of silly concepts. I mean, the dude that's all about family never mentions of this guy, never mentions that he has a blood brother. Like, not even a whisper. No. But John Cena, he was pretty cool here. There's a definite difference in character compared to F9 to Fast X. In F9, he was more of that sad sack, serious, always grumbly, and where in this, he's more happy-go-lucky, and he's more cheerful and excited. There's a definite difference. You can definitely tell a difference. Even though it's the same character, there's a definite character difference here compared to F9. But I think John Cena, he did pretty good. And I'm glad that they added him in this, that they continued his story for this film as opposed to F9. Like I said, I think he did a really good job in Fast X. And you also have Tyrese Gibson and Ludacris, who's pretty much been the comic relief of everything else that's going on. They did pretty good. I always laugh whenever Roman Pierce shows up. Tyrese Gibson. There's not a single actor in this movie that didn't disappoint. But the negative side is, I felt like there was a little bit too much I felt like it was overstuffed, kind of crammed in, for an almost 2.5 hour movie. I felt like because of that, there was a little bit too much for story context. I just felt like it was a little bit overstuffed, and they could have just saved some characters for at least the next one. And just kind of dialed it back down a little bit for this. It did feel overstuffed at times. But I digress. Now moving on to my negatives, the biggest issue with me was the ending. Now, I understand that this is the first of a 2-parter or a 3-parter. It just depends on the box office. But the way they ended this, it was a cliffhanger. Without giving anything away, it was a cliffhanger. But what pisses me off about it is it didn't feel complete. You don't get that nice little family get-together, sit around the dinner table sort of scene that this franchise has pretty much been consistent on doing up until this point, where you have Dom at the head of the table, standing up, making that speech, thanking everybody, and saying, it's all about family. It's all about family. You don't get any of that. It's just a one and done. You think something else is going to happen, and it gets really tense, and then it just cuts off. And there you go. See you later. See, that right there just made me feel so unnerving. And even though if you ask any of the filmmakers, I'm pretty sure they'll say, yeah, that was our intentions. This is a first part of a 2-part episode of a film that's going to be the last of it, the last film for our next one. And that was our intentions. And I'm pretty sure that's what any of the filmmakers of this film probably would say. But still, it just feels weird. It just feels weird. And that's why if the box office fails, we're screwed. Plain and friggin' simple, we're screwed. So come on, $800 million mark. Because that's how much I'm calculating this movie will need to make, seeing how this is the most expensive one out there that they made because of the director switch that they did at the last second, right at the beginning of production, as I mentioned before. If the box office fails, we're screwed. But there's nothing more to tell. We get left with this cliffhanger that will never get resolved. That's the only thing that pisses me off about it. I think the movie is already up to like 515 million, somewhere around there. With an ending like that, with the type of ending that we get for Fast X, as gripping as it was, as tight as I was holding to the edge of my seat, I just didn't feel like that was the right move. Because again, if the box office fails, then we're screwed. So I'll say to all Fast and Furious fans who are actual fans of this and don't care about all the silly, stupid antics that this franchise brings, support it. Support it. So we get a better conclusion and something that will get us off that edge, that cliffhanger that we got in this. Despite its many crazy antics, it's a Fast and Furious movie. You either love it or hate it. It's simple as that. But if you can get past the plethora of silliness this franchise brings, then that's great. Fast X is a happy accident. So Fast X, what was your thoughts on it? Did you love it? Did you hate it? Did you think it was better than F9? Or did you think F9 was better than Fast X? Leave me your comment down below and give me your thoughts. Thank you so much, guys, for watching this. I really do appreciate it. Again, I apologize for being absent. I'm back, and I'll try to upload as much as I can, as much content for you as I can. Thank you so much, guys, for watching this video. I really do appreciate it. Like, subscribe, comment, and share. And I will see you on the next one. Peace.